Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It is Monday. It is the 17th of April. And we're here. We are chilling in my car. And lately, I've been in the control panel. And usually, when I'm mashing down on a bunch of buttons, you can expect a thought of the day. And today's thought of the day is about fate. Today's thought of the day is about fate. Do you believe in fate? Do you believe that there are people in this world that can change the course of your life? Do you believe that there are people out there that can pull some stuff out of you that you can't pull out of yourself? I do. And you know what he used to say to me? Ikigai, Rostami-san. Ikigai. Now, if you're one of my warriors, if you're one of my diamonds, my liberators, my Valor Flight members, my Avengers, you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's what he used to say, Ikigai. You know, most of you know this, but for those of you that don't, I'm an Air Force Staff Sergeant. I've been in the Air Force for 9 years, and I've had the privilege of traveling the world. I've been many places. I was in Germany for 2 years. I was in Korea for a year. I've been here in the UK for 2.5 years. And I was stationed in Japan as well for 3 years. And I've been enjoying every bit of it. Mostly because of the food. But you know me, I love the food. But you know, when I think back to all those experiences, all those years, something else kind of comes up. There's something else I want you to know about me. Through all this experience and all the people that I've worked with and all the jobs that I've done, I've made a lot of mistakes. And I've got a lot of regret. But if there's one thing that I don't regret, that is listening to a man in Japan that radically altered the natural course of my destiny. You know, when I was back in Japan, I was working in the HVAC shop. That's the heating, ventilation, air conditioning shop. And we were working in a shop where we were working alongside our Japanese counterparts. And in that shop, we had a Japanese foreman by the name of Shinji Hosobuchi. Now, if you remember Bush, you need to write something in these comments below. And Bush, we used to call him Bush because he spoke the best English out of everyone, all the Japanese. And it was just easier for us. But Bush started out at the very bottom of the totem pole. Bush came in and he provided a service to the Air Force 20 plus years ago. And he knew no English and he didn't have any trade or craft under his belt. He literally came through the ranks learning the job and the English as he went. And 20 years later, he became the foreman of the same shop that he started out at the very bottom. And he's there today at Yokota Air Base. But there was something else about Bush that we all knew. Bush was very passionate. He used to get very fired up. And he used to go off on these very deep, philosophical Japanese rants. And us as the Americans, we would kind of start to inch towards the door when we could kind of sense the onset of one coming up. But I used to like to stay and listen to Bush. I don't know why. He was just, he really fascinated me. And he always used to say to me, Ikigai, Rostami-san, Ikigai. And I heard that continually. And eventually, after months of hearing this, I was like, Bush, what the hell are you talking about? And I remember him sitting there at his desk. And I remember him dropping his pencil and taking his glasses off and looking at me with this just annoyed look. And he put his glasses down and he had a whiteboard behind his desk. And he grabbed a dry erase board marker. And he went up to the whiteboard. And he said, Rostami-san, kite, which meant listen. He said, kite, listen. And he drew a circle on the whiteboard. And he drew a heart inside of the circle. And he said, Rostami-san, you have to do what it is in life that you love. And I said, yeah, Bush. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And he said, Rostami-san, chanto kikinasai, which meant pay attention. He's like, pay attention. And he drew another circle. And this circle kind of overlapped the first circle. And in this circle, he wrote what it is that you're good at. And he said, Rostami-san, in life, you have to find what it is that you love, and you also have to find what it is that you're good at. And I said, okay, that's interesting. But in that overlapping portion between both circles, he said, Rostami-san, if you're doing what it is that you love and what it is that you're good at, and he drew a line in this overlapping section. He says, we have a word for this in Japanese. I said, what is that word, Bush? He said, this is called your passion, Rostami-san. If you're doing what it is that you love and you're doing what it is that you're good at. And I was like, all right. I mean, I've never really heard it put like that before. And he said, but Rostami-san, kite, listen. I said, okay, what, Bush? And he drew another circle, this time at the 3 o'clock position. And in that circle, he wrote what the world needs. And he said, Rostami-san, if you're doing what it is that you love, and you're doing what it is that the world needs, we have a word for this in Japanese too. I said, what is that word, Bush? He wrote up there, mission. He said, Rostami-san, this is your mission in life. And now he really got my attention, because that really started to make me think. If you're doing what it is that you love and you're doing what it is that the world needs, think back to all the people in history that were doing what they loved, helping people, and they were doing what the world needed at the time. All the Martin Luther Kings, all the Mahatma Gandhis, all the Mother Teresas. It wasn't necessarily what they were good at, but they were doing what the world needed at the time. It was their mission. It was what they loved. And he said, well, Rostami-san, chanto kikidasai, pay attention. Bush, I'm listening. I was really interested at this point. And he drew another circle at the 6 o'clock position. And in this circle, he drew a dollar sign and a Japanese yen sign. And he said, but Rostami-san, if you're doing what the world needs and you're doing what you can get paid for, this is what it represented, this circle, what you can get paid for. We have a word for this in Japanese too. I said, what is that word, Bush? And he wrote up on the whiteboard, job. This is just your job. I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there are a lot of roles in society that need to be filled just to make society and the world move forward. It's what the world needs, and it's what you can get paid for. It's a job. Think about all the cashiers, clerks, receptionists. No discredit to anyone that does that job, but that's all it really is. It's a job. And he said, but Rostami-san, if you're doing what you're good at, now in the 9 o'clock position, and what you can get paid for, we also have a word for this in Japanese. I said, what is that word, Bush? He said, he drew it up there. This is your career. It's a career. And I'm like, damn. Think about all the people in the Air Force today that are doing what they can get paid for and what they're good at. But it's not necessarily what they love, because they're waiting until they hit 20 years, they could retire and then go do what they love, right? I mean, that's most of us. I mean, right now, at this point, I was really interested in what he was talking about. But he said, Rostami-san, if you're doing what it is that you love, if you're doing what it is that the world needs, if you're doing what it is that you can get paid for, and if you're doing what you're good at, we also have something that we call this in Japanese as well. I said, what is that, Bush? And he drew up there with a dry erase board marker the word ikigai. And I said, what is ikigai, Bush? And he said, Rostami-san, it is your purpose in life. It is your purpose. And I can tell you right now that this little blueprint radically altered and changed the way that I saw myself and the way that I saw my life. I was a 3-striper at the time. And this dramatically disrupted the story that I was living in at that point in my life. And it lit up the dimly lit path that was in front of me. I was thinking these thoughts, and here he was. He just drew it right out in front of me. And I was speechless. Even today, just thinking about Bush, thinking about what he put up on the board for me, I'm speechless. But here's my question to you. What do you love? What are you good at? What do you believe that the world needs? What do you see yourself worthy enough to be paid for? And if you've already asked yourself these questions, but you didn't really get the answer that you were seeking, I have a theory as to why that might be. It's hard. It's hard. Finding your purpose, finding your ikigai, it's hard. And as human beings, we have a tendency to want to do what is easy. We want to do what is easy. We're always seeking the path of least resistance. But I'm here to tell you, if you've been in my car this entire time, I've led you all the way up until this point to tell you one simple truth. And that is this. If you do what is easy, then your life is going to be hard. If you do what is easy, that's giving yourself a pass. That's making excuses. That's taking the easy road. That's the missed opportunities. If you do what is easy, then your life is going to be hard. But if you do what is hard, that's getting up and seeking what it is that you love every day. If you do what is hard, that's paying the energy and the time and the effort into your talents and your skills that are innately a part of you. If you do what is hard, that's seeing yourself worthy and deserving of finding something that you can get paid for while doing what you love and what it is that you're good at. If you do what is hard, then your life will be easy. If you do what is hard, your life, I'm telling you right now, your life will be easy. And I remember that same day, Bush, he said, Rostami-san, you're fighting 4 wars at all times in your life. You're fighting the war of trying to find what it is that you love. You're fighting the war of what it is that you're good at. You're fighting a war on what it is that the world needs, and you're fighting a war on what it is that you can get paid for. But Rostami-san, if you can win all 4 of these wars, then you've won the campaign of life. And he said, Rostami-san, wakarimasu ka? Do you understand? And I said, Hai, Bush. Wakarimashita. I said, Wakarimashita. I understand. I understand. It was Jim Butcher. Jim Butcher said, life is a journey, time is a river, and the door is ajar. The door is open for all of us. I see my life as my own personal odyssey, and that's what I think that you should see your life as too. But it won't take you 20 years like it took Odysseus, the master of landways and seaways. It won't take you 20 years like he did. It took him 20 years to find home, to find his ikigai. But it won't take you 20. It might not even take you 10. It might not even take you 5 or another year or another month or another week or another day. Because now you have the blueprint. You know that finding your purpose has everything to do with finding what it is that you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. Now, you didn't know Bush then, or even now, but, well, now you do. I mean, you didn't know who Bush was. Some of you did. You wrote it down there. But he'd be very proud to know that I left Japan with something. I mean, I don't remember a lot. I mean, I ate a lot of good sushi and I drank a lot, but I remember that. And I hope that serves as a compass for you too. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are singing like the birds sing. Not worried about who hears or what they think. I look forward to talking with you next week. Until then, stay well, stay healthy. I'll talk with you soon.